First, only, no one. First is okay if you're the first woman to run for president, or the first man on the moon, or the first member of the LGBTQ community to win a Tony. Only is okay if you have a patent for a particular object. No one is fine if no one can dance like you or no one has written a song or a book like you. But to be first, only, and there's no one else in a PhD program, that can be the source of much angst, anxiety, and perhaps even some anger. Chicago Theological Seminary was founded in 1855. The primary task was to educate newly freed slaves. Our history also notes our work in the abolitionist movement. Chicago Theological Seminary was the place where the first African American who was president of a predominantly white theological institution, we housed that person. We are now on our third African American president. Here at CTS, issues around race, equity, justice, and mercy, they're in our DNA. They're in our degree programs. And yes, you'll see this in our PhD program. Students who come to Chicago Theological Seminary to do doctoral work have the opportunity to study around sacred text, interreligious studies, chaplaincy studies, Islamic chaplaincy studies. Persons have the opportunity to study feminism, womanism, African approaches to theology, African American approaches to ethics. These are areas in which our faculty produce. These are ways in which our faculty are engaged in the public square. Our faculty represent a variety of racial and ethnic groups. They represent a variety of gender and sexual identities. Even our approaches to religion and spirituality are just as different, just as diverse. This is important when you are trying to go through PhD programs. You want to see people who look like you. You want to see people who in many ways embody what's possible. And why is that important? Well, let me tell you a little bit about my story. A few decades ago, I sat in orientation. I'd been newly accepted into a PhD program. And at that orientation, I looked around and I saw two other African American women. There was also a robust African American community at the institution's divinity school. There were faculty who looked like me at that institution. I ended up working with an advisor who was from Cuba. This advisor taught me that my social location was important to biblical interpretation, that who I am influenced how I read. That's important, that's significant as you are considering PhD programs. And here I am, now an associate professor of New Testament studies. I didn't even see becoming a dean on the radar. And yes, there is much work that our guild needs to do because the numbers of African Americans, the numbers of Latino and Asians within our guild is low. There's space, there's opportunity, there are places of growth. But yet, you can see, I'm a living witness that it is indeed possible. Here at Chicago Theological Seminary, our mission is to educate leaders who will transform society, who will change and embellish and push the public square towards greater justice and mercy. It's one of the reasons why CTS was one of the first members of the institutional doctoral network for the Fund for Theological Education, now the Forum for Theological Exploration. We believe that places where you are the first or the only, that's a place where perhaps there's some injustice and some inequity. First, another. Only, there are many. No one, there are a number. Won't you go to our website, www.ctschicago.edu? Begin the process. Get on the path of making what's possible. We want to walk with you through the application process, through your first class, through all of that coursework, through those PhD exams, through that dissertation phase. We want to walk with you to that very moment where you are hooded with that doctoral degree. ctschicago.edu, we have space for you. We want to welcome you. Thank you.